Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. I am Pawn Lelouch, and today you're joining me in Vampire Survivors. Today, I'm going to explain how you can finally get some revenge on that insta-killing monstrosity that ends your runs that were going so well every time at the 30-minute mark. This trick is known to some, but I figured I should do my part in spreading it around, while showing how this game's mechanics can be exploited to kill the unkillable, without using any of the secret characters. So, in today's video, we're going to Clarice and her ridiculous ability to accomplish just that. Her ability makes it so that she starts off with 400% area, and it decreases with each level she gets until it reaches a normal size. This matters because the Rune Tracer gets massive when you use her, and get as your soul level up when you hit level 2, by getting the green gem on the table in the nook. For the power-ups, take everything but Curse, Magnet, and Growth. Greed doesn't matter, so you can ignore it, but everything else has some benefit, and we could use some specific timings that could be messed up if the passives aren't fully bought. Curse, Magnet, and Growth all make it easier to level up, hence why you need to actively avoid buying them in this run. This allows you to get Rune Tracer while it is still big enough to bounce on the geometry, and be big enough to cover up your entire hitbox. If you reach level 3, it shrinks too much, and you'll end up getting killed by the hordes later on in the run. Also, remember the actual goal of this run? In Vampire Survivors, enemies have their HP scaled by your level, where the Reaper gets about 650,000 HP per level. Killing one Reaper with 1.3 million HP fast enough is hard enough as is. Killing a Reaper with just under 2 million or even more becomes near impossible. So if you accidentally hit level 3, reset since it's just faster than losing the run would be. You shouldn't use hurry mode to try and win this either. While having the time needed to attempt the run would be amazing, you usually can't get enough experience to complete your build, and it's much harder to survive the hordes in practice, to the point that it's likely to cost you more time in the long run from resets. Now, once you load into the game, grab the Awake Arcana first to guarantee it, move up to the clock to collect the green gem, grab Rune Tracer, and then get into position. The higher you are, the less chance you have to level up. The lower you are, the safer you are. You want your hand to align with the bottom part of the clock, and from there you just need to be mildly lucky. At roughly 850 kills, a red gem should appear on your map, where this gem is the farthest away gem from you. Once it drops, it will start accumulating all the experience dropped past this point. If you don't see the gem past around the 330 mark, you can reasonably assume that your Santa Water ended up hitting an enemy off screen near the beginning, and that's where the red gem is. With the revives from your passive and Awake Arcana, you could maybe find it, but it's early enough and not enough of a guarantee that I would suggest just restarting at that point instead. From there, we'll jump forward to 2959, where it's best to just pause the game and rapidly pause and unpause if need be, till the monsters are destroyed and you can start moving. If you do it a second too early and start leveling up, the Reaper's HP will skyrocket and make this impossible, so be careful. Make a beeline for your red gem while trying to leave a few of the chests that are littering around the area so you can evolve your weapons later on. Here is an image of the build I will use, and I'll be going over my picking process to explain what I'm doing and why during it. Try to avoid maxing out weapons if you can, since it removes them from the weapon pool, while making it more likely you'll end up having to grab something that doesn't complement the build. As soon as the monsters pop, I make my way over to my gem and start going through my level ups. The main things to do here is make sure to grab the unpicked build choices whenever possible, where if you have multiple options, go for the rarer ones like Duplicate or Empty Tome. Otherwise, just try not to max out weapons initially, since it removes them from the pool and makes it harder to guarantee that you'll have something to use in your pool, forcing a reroll or skip. Otherwise, you need to save 2 banishes for Clock Lancet after it hits level 5, and Spellbinder once it hits level 4, but otherwise should use them on common weapons like the Fire Wand or Axe to stop them from cluttering things up. You banish Clock Lancet and Spellbinder at those levels since it allows for a unique freeze timing that should mostly avoid mistimings that would desync them and give the Reaper more chances to kill you. And once you're done with the level ups, you head back towards the chest to try and evolve your knives and magic wand, as well as find your 2 remaining Arcana options. For the first one, you always grab Slash if it's available, as it heavily increases your knives DPS and will make them actually fairly useful. If Slash isn't in your pool, you probably want to take Iron Blue Will for your Arcana. The weapon bouncing doesn't do anything initially, but it can be useful once multiple Reapers start spawning if you reach that point. If you get slash first, once your first weapon evolves, you can honestly ignore the second Arcana if you want to, since the time finding it might not be worth it depending on your speed and if you think you can avoid getting multiple Reapers. On top of that, never take the projectile speed or duration changing Arcanas. They mess up your rune tracer and freeze timings, so that even if the numbers should be higher on average, they actively make it harder to get a proper clear going. And once that's sorted, I make my way over to the table and roughly align myself so some of my health bar is overlapping with the table, and then bump up slightly, where this should be enough ultimately once situated. This should get you a huge amount of night damage and bouncing rune tracer damage. And while I didn't have the perfect placements here, it was still enough for me to relatively easily kill the Reaper as soon as the kill counter ticks up by 1. I hope you enjoyed this video about getting back at the reaping monstrosity haunting your games, and that it helps you all do the same. Post your results down below in the comment section if you want, and if you make it to the end of this video, I hope you like the content well enough to like and subscribe for more in the future. With that, I'll see you all in the next one, and goodbye.